Hey, hello. So let's see what we got today. Says here, man explains why 70% of divorce are started by women. Men and women do not have the same options. What does that mean, though? In my name, Maddie. Maddie? Is it Matthew? Is it Matt? Maddie? Has recently gone viral on TikTok after posting a video about why so many divorces are started by women versus men. According to the comment from someone else, TikTok, 70% of divorces are initiated by wives. And the women who replied to that comment with TikToks of their own have blamed the men for it. However, Maddie believes that there's another reason why men aren't initiating the majority. Maddie believes that the men stand to lose more when getting divorced. Yes, that is a good influence. If the divorce is going to leave you worse off than just staying married, then why would you get divorced? It seems counterproductive. Michael Rosenfeld, an associate professor of sociology at Stanford University, analyzed the data from the How Couples Meet and Stay Together survey from 2009 to 2015 and found that women initiate 69% of all divorces. That much is true, but what the original research doesn't include is why these divorces were initiated. Of course, it doesn't include that because then you would have to ask those people. Maddie has a hypothesis of his own. In order to make the women's claim sound invalid, he includes some additional statistics. I'm not going to point out that lesbians have the highest divorce rate of all marriages. I'm not going to point out that gay men have the lowest divorce rates of all marriages. They're also a lower population. It is significant that lesbians have a higher divorce rate, but their marriages and their marriage roles are also very new and very experimental, and those women are kind of just making it up as they go along, so there would be a higher rate of failure. And as for the men, less of them get married, and they're less likely to be bothered by cheating. They tend to have a more open relationship, and they also a lot more pragmatic in their relationships. So if they get married, the kind of reasons that they would get divorced wouldn't include, oh, they're just not happy anymore, or you know they found someone else, or whatever it is. They'll just make do with the situation because they can find their own happiness being separate from each other, even though they're married. So just that fact alone, they could just be equally as unhappy with the situation, but they're less likely to get divorced. That's not an indictment on the women. It's just saying that the women are more likely to file for divorce, seeing that the situation is untenable, whereas the men is more likely to stick with the situation regardless of the tenability of said situation. So if you're a man getting married, it's pertinent to keep in mind that women are filing for divorce more often, uh, because you're the one that's going to get divorced. So it makes no sense for you to get married knowing that the odds are against you, and you really gain nothing from the marriage itself. If you're a woman getting married, it's also pertinent for you to keep in mind that it might not be what you want to do. It might be something that you like the idea of, and you might think that you found a person that you can do that with forever, but the situations change. So, however, the point that Maddie's trying to make is that statistics tell them that nothing about why, even if he's insinuating that women are the problem. It's not that women are the problem, it's that they're the ones filing for divorce. You know, both people can be the problem, but both people are not going to be equally um, advantaged by the situation. Hey, guy, Your marriage isn't working. Would you like to try to fight to fix your marriage, or would you want to divorce where you will lose half your assets, possibly spend years fighting just to see your children? All right. He asked hypothetically to another hypothetical man. The sarcasm is flowing off the page. Hey, lady, your marriage isn't working. Would you rather fight to make your marriage work, or do you want to take half of his stuff and take the children with you and live happily, and then complain about him because everyone will believe you? I don't think it's that malicious. I think women generally believe that they're doing the right thing when they divorce. And they also don't want to have to struggle. They want to make the best of a bad situation, so they'll seek as much money as they can. Um, the fact that the men suffer from divorce a little bit more doesn't mean that the women are bad people. It just means that the men made a bad deal because they're dumb. They made a bad deal, and when it comes to dealing with the consequences of said bad deal, they complain that they should have never made that deal in the first place. It's like, did you not think of the consequence? Did you not think that maybe you might have to bear that consequence? Did you not have a plan for if those consequences come about? You didn't, because you thought love would carry you through. And you're mad at her because she realized love is not going to carry her through and she decides to leave. I'm a big proponent of consequences. And if you're facing the consequences of your decisions, you're just gonna have to take that L. I That's why I would never get married. I would never put myself in that situation because there's nothing to gain. And if I do put myself in that situation, I just have to eat it. It was a bad choice. I just have to eat it. Maddie believes that men and women do not have the same options when it comes to divorce, and that options you're presented with when you try to make a decision matter. Well, it's true, but the men chose their option. The women also chose their options. So it doesn't matter if you don't have the same options. You chose it. Why would you agree to something that disadvantages you? There's an overwhelming amount of evidence that shows why women get divorced. Bottom line is that women are tired of doing it all in marriage. It doesn't make any sense. If you're doing it all, why would you get married in the first place? Even you're in a situation where you have to do everything. Why would you get married? Or are you saying that the moment you get married, the other person does nothing and you do everything? That doesn't seem realistic. That seems like a lie. That seems like you're definitely lying. The problem isn't that you have to do it all. The problem is that you don't want to do it anymore. You agreed to do something forever and you don't want to do it anymore. That is a lie. Your complaint is a lie. And the reason you're getting divorced, lady, is because you simply don't want to do it anymore. You're trying to make your failure a virtue. You're trying to make it someone else's fault when it's really just you. I'm not saying the women are the problem, but if that's your excuse, you are the problem. I'm seeking working moms doing it all. I'm seeing working moms doing it all. What is all? What is all? What all are they doing? If the if you're only seeing one part of the equation, then obviously you're going to see working moms doing it all, but they obviously can't do it all by themselves. I had a conversation with an individual recently who was telling me that his mom raised them all by herself and she had to do it all. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. You said she worked like 20 hours a day or something like 16 hours a day, and she still took care of them. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, because there's not enough hours in the day for her to be doing all of that and also taking care of a child. She was getting help from somebody. And he was upset with me because he thought his mom was a hero, and he doesn't want to admit the truth that someone was either paying her child support or family was supporting her. And her doing it all by herself was a lie. Either she told you that lie, or you were led to believe that based on the situation that you saw. Simply not true. This bald guy again. Funny enough, in dystopian way, several studies suggest that greater the gap by which a wife's income outpaces her husband, the less he does around the house. According to who? Men generally do less around the house because we're not bothered by, oh, the picture frames aren't up the way I want them to be. We aren't bothered by the walls of being bare, or that the furniture isn't organized the way that we want them to be. We're unbothered by the little things, so we tend to do less around the house. Women tend to do more around the house because they want to do those things, not because they have to. But that's not all. According to divorce.com, the majority of divorces are initiated by women who have unmet needs. What's that mean? If a person has a need, that need has to be satisfied by themselves, not by other people. If someone has to depend on someone else to satisfy their needs, that person is a dependent, which means they're either a child who can't take care of themselves or an adult with special needs. So if you're initiating a divorce from someone because your needs aren't being met, the problem is you. You're dependent on that person, and that person no longer wants to have a pet. Women are carrying the bulk of the emotional labor. What the fuck does that mean? Your emotions are yours alone. You can't carry someone else's emotions, so that's not a thing. Emotional labor commonly refers to the mental tax that comes with taking care of all the household chores. That's actual labor. That's not emotional labor. Women are still far more likely to do the laundry, 58%. That's not a big difference, and women usually have more clothes. They wear more clothes, which means they have more laundry to do. How many different pairs of shirts and pants do you think a man wears on a daily basis? How much laundry do you think he racks up? Not that much. So if she's doing more laundry, most of the laundry is hers, right? And it's only 8% more, well, 7% more. Those numbers don't add up. Okay, it's saying, okay, so she cleaned the house 51% more. So only 1% more than he does. And 8% more laundry than he does. So it's not a big difference. All of these statistics show how mentally and emotionally sometimes even, no, it doesn't. It does not. The difference is not big enough. Anyways, that's it for this. Man, that was a waste of time. Anyways, until next time.